ain't never had to do that. Wow. Yeah. She is. She heard something outside, and so I had to stick my head outside to figure out what was going on. And I think what it was is I seen a raccoon going across the street. I bet that raccoon like brushed up against my screen door and made some noise. So anyway, sorry about that, guys. I did not mean for that to happen. Yeah, that was actually now my blood's racing here a little bit. Anyway, guys, yeah. So yeah, I apologize for that. So yeah, raccoons are cute until they bite you, give you some rabies. Raccoons are cute, and they're actually they can be decent pets up till they're till they're about a year old. After that, man, I mean they become, unless they can be domesticized just a little bit better than what they are now, they're pretty aggressive sometimes. But yeah, real life Elizabeth for sure, for sure. So hey Rip, what's up, bud? Trash pandas, there you go. Good name there, Rip. Exactly. Good name there, though, Rip. Yeah, that's right, shits and giggles. Heck yeah. I love your name, by the way. Tab, what's up? Hi to everybody else. Hey, we had a beagle. You know, it's kind of a sad story. I don't know if I want to bring that out, but we had a beagle, bought a beagle for my son years ago, and the dog was such a bad dog at the beginning. Man, she just wouldn't listen for nothing. I mean, it was just one of the worst beagles I'd ever seen, just to be honest. And about the time we got her trained enough to where she, was a good dog, we took her to the vet because she wasn't using the bathroom the right way. So we took her to the vet, and she had a mass inside of her stomach. And he asked me if I golfed, and I said, yeah, I golf. I did back then anyway, before I got all injured up. But I went and he said, feel this. So he put my hand on her underbelly, and it felt like a golf ball, almost the exact same size. He said, well, maybe she swallowed a golf ball. He said, I'll go in and see what we got. He had to do surgery on her. And she was only 3 years old, so I was like, yeah, it's my son's dog. And, became part of the family really, really quick after, you know what I'm saying? So we come home, and, after he figured that out, it ended up being like a cancerous mass. And he was able to get it out. But then 3 weeks later, my wife came over for lunch, and she couldn't even, our dog couldn't even get up and down the stairs. And so we took her back to the vet, and it was too much. We had to put her down. She had so much cancer after that. It was just really bad. And it just, man, it ripped us up, man, bad. It's kind of, it's when you see your 12-year-old son and your 8-year-old son, well, my 8-year-old, leaned over, and, we had to go bury her, and, obviously it was me and my older was going to do that. He was 12, and like I said, my 8-year-old son, in my mind, was too little. He actually walked up. We didn't tell him to ask this, but he walked up and he said, Dad, I want to try. I want to help too. When they do stuff like that when they're kids, it gets you right in the heart. And I was like, well, how come, son? He's like, Dad, he said, I just think I want to do this for her. And I'm like, wow. So I just backed off. And it was amazing. Amazing to see my kids be like that. And that's when I knew they were good kids. For the most part. But yeah, it was most certainly, it was a in a strange way though, it brought us all closer together, and I hate to say that. And it did teach my son a little bit about death, but he understood. He already understood that. He understood what that meant. Or he never would have, asked me for my shovel. You know what I mean? So yeah, I get pretty attached myself. I was like a little baby for 2 days. Probably longer than that. But anyway, we'll get into the space weather. Alright guys, we got we got flares and stuff, but before we get into that, I'm going to show you guys this again, just run down through this a little bit. It's like we got waves of stuff going on, pulsing on the Schumann. I showed it in my last video. I'm not really sure what's causing that. but it is kind of mirroring this. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that that's exactly what it is what's causing it, but I do think it is affecting it, and it can affect it. All right. I don't see anything happen geomagnetically, which most of the time, if we're getting space weather that's going to affect the Schumann, it's a magnetic activity type of thing. It's not usually X-ray. So I don't know if that's actually what's causing some of the issue here with the pulsing. I don't think it is. I really don't know what it is, but if I had to guess, I would say it was probably some of the stuff here on our planet, whatever's causing the stuff like on our planet right now. You know, plus we have to keep in mind this tool is regional, it's not global. So there could have been something going on over there where this is at in Russia. And, you know, because they take like 10 or 11 or 12 stations and they put it all into one number. And that's what you see, that's what they map out here. Okay? So when stuff is like thunderstorms and stuff like that, earthquakes that are in this area, obviously will affect the vibration. So that's one thing we have to keep in mind. This is not a global tool, which is why there's multiple ones like this, or similar, okay? But you can even see the pulsing here. Now, we had a comment talking about, you know, a couple of the nurses here that watch my channel said that looks like a sick heart patient, and it does, like on an EKG machine. So, that's definitely, you know, it doesn't look like a healthy person. But, you know, I think Earth is fighting this stuff off just fine. Okay, we'll get into the main gets of this right now. You know, we've been talking about this anyway, the solar X-ray flux. And, you know, we've seen a constant rays, but then check this out. Bam, bam. I mean, this sunspot appeared. We've seen it yesterday, if you guys remember. It came up, and I'll show it to you here in a second. Came up real quick, and it was already firing little cracklers, like right here. But man, when it fired these off, when I started making this video, it had only done this one. That's a C-class flare itself. It's a low C-class, but it's a C-class. And then this, you know, right before I went live, I seen it, and I changed my thumbnail and everything because of it. You know, that's a bigger one. You know, we're looking at probably a C7, maybe a C8. That's above halfway on that C chart right there. So, you know, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. They were trying to tell us that we didn't really have much of a chance for something like this, you know, for about 2 or 3 days. They kind of try to predict these things. But that sunspot appeared, and it did. It went crazy right at the beginning. When I say crazy, just like little stuff over and over and over again. You could see it kind of popping. All right. But anyway, no missing data there, which is nice. This right here is the sunspot I'm talking about. It's 2778, and we'll talk more about it. You can even actually see, if you look right around this, I think it's actually picking up one of these disruptions already, just on this one. This one we don't really see a whole lot until we go look at the other charts. I was actually over at Mark Pyre's channel when that thing hit the first time, and no sooner than that thing hit, even myself, things started buffering all over the place. My TV did, even. My TV, the cable I got, my TV was having an issue there for a second. You know, I didn't even know we had a big flare like that until, like I said, I seen the smaller one first. And then we had that second one. I was like, wow, bam. There it is. You know, I was telling everybody in the chat room over there, hey, we just had 2 flares. But I was talking about 2 smaller ones than that third one. That third one hit after I got off of there. So that was kind of interesting. But you can see on our magnometers how they're not really reacting a whole lot. And they typically don't, because we're talking about X-ray. Okay? Even on our magnetopause, we'll probably see a little bump on the magnetopause, but it's only going to last a second. The main energy from that will be the CME that's behind it. if it had a CME, and I already looked, and I think it does. I think some of the plasma released off too. But there most definitely was a flare. Look at my thumbnail. That's it. That's the biggest flare out of the three. That's exactly what I just took a screenshot of it. So we'll take a look at that again here in a second. You know what? I'm not gonna make you guys wait. That's stupid. So we got this, right? This is the 304 over here, and I've already updated all these. But here's the sunspot, and we'll cruise in here in just a second. Okay, but you can see. Now what I want to point out is we have a filament eruption up here first. Up here. Then we get eruptions over here, Then the sun's doing things all over the place right now. There's that filament eruption, see it? Okay. Now, again, I'm not 100% that that's going to hit us, but it surely does look like it's coming our direction. That's what I'll say. Okay, so we got that, and we keep moving forward, and you're starting to see the little pops here. See that? Now see that was the first one. Hold on, let me zoom in there because you can't see that one very well. I know you can't. No way. So if you watch right here, you're going to see a little flare. Plus, you're going to see a little what looks to be like a filament that comes up, and it kind of is, but it's plasma leaving. Watch. Again, it's right here. I'll leave my cursor right there. Let's back it up a little bit. See that? You see it flare first. Let me back it off some more. It's going to flare right there because it makes an X pattern. I'm going to zoom in even further. Wow. Okay. What the heck? There we go. So again, it's going to X flare, right? Not X flare. It's going to flare, and it's going to take the shape of an X. Okay? That's the flare. If you look real close, you can kind of see the X being made. It's kind of camouflaged, but watch right here, out of the center here, you're going to see a little bit of an ejection. See that? There to there. Okay, so that was the first one that I noticed, substantial one anyway. And we keep going forward. And that thing's crackling and popping. And there's the next one. See it? I know you guys can see that one for sure. Alright, but that's not the biggest one. See how that gets real big right there? I think we got a couple more. We may even had 4 of them. Who knows? Let's check it. There's the third one. That's not the biggest one either, guys. Watch. Here comes the biggest one. See how fast that went and gone? That's the biggest one there. Okay? We go forward some more. Wow, it did it again. Man, see? Look at all these little flares it's popping. That was crazy. You know, we could sit here and count the X's, and it would probably add up to about between 4 and 5. Okay? Now, again, not all of those had a CME with it. Okay? That's important to know because, you know, the energy we're going to get from that is already here and gone unless it had a CME with it. So, if you look up here, look at that. That's another ejection. And that's just what I'm trying to tell people right now is that the sun is doing all kinds of stuff all over the place. Watch this over here. Okay, so I got you back here. Now watch. I'm going to go forward. You see that? Watch right here. Now, I don't think any of that left. It could have a little bit, but I don't think so. Then we're going to watch this area up here. But at the same time, as this is ejecting over here, the big filament stuff over here is messing up too. Okay, did you see that right there? That's an ejection, watch. See? Now, I don't know if any of it left the sun, but it tried. And here's that filament right there. The biggest part of it, and then it actually will do it again, watch. So you can just see all over the sun right now. It's just, it's crazy active. You know, I think this is more activity than what would be normal in an uptick from a solar minimum year, the end of the solar minimum, to the first year of the new cycle. I think this is faster. I think we're moved into it faster. And actually, I got numbers to back that up. See that right there? Right now, we're at 77% on back in 2019 of days without sunspots facing us. Currently, this year, we're at 68%. That's 9% increase in activity. Okay? If you compare the same 2 years from the last sun cycle, you get 2%. And as long as these sunspots keep showing up, this number is going to keep going down, which means we're more active. The further apart these two numbers are will indicate that we've come into this next year here faster than what we did last sun cycle. A lot faster. Why does that even matter? Well, because our magnetic field is weaker right now. Okay? Roughly about 20%. Now, when does it start to recover? I don't know. I can't give you that answer because I just don't know. I don't think anybody can put an exact time frame on that, if it's even going to recover back to its original strength. Who knows? But this is that new sunspot. It's definitely, I mean, what do they say about it? Says it's just materialized, which, you know, I showed it to you guys last night. Now, this was, I think this was updated. They haven't updated it since, you know, about midday yesterday, or maybe last evening. So you got that, because typically these guys are on it, and it's the middle of the night, guys, and that's probably why they don't have that flare up here yet. They will, as soon as they see it. My guess is these guys get alerts somehow, and it'll wake them up, and they'll get on here and do what they need to do, you know. But I want to point this out too, okay? There's been a lot of talk about these auroras. Not only are they completely, utterly beautiful, but they mean something. They can tell us a lot about what's going on. And what I mean is that, like I said before, the stuff comes in easier on the poles, right? Well, when we see the green ones, the excuse me, the green ones are the solar wind, the charged particles slamming into the oxygen molecules. Okay, you know, most of the oxygen molecules that we see in our atmosphere, you know, they reside between about 100 kilometers to 300 kilometers. Okay, the pink ones are nitrogen. Those, the majority of those are from like 100 kilometers down. Okay, so in order to get a pink aurora, it has to get further down. So when we see pink, usually that means we've either had a crack in our magnetic field, a weak spot, or we've had some pretty intense solar wind along with CME stuff, all that kind of thing, that has punched stuff through a little easier. So when we see these, and these are not, you know, like I said, these are rare. And we've been talking about the red ones too. We're having a lot of rare aurora events. We're talking about stuff that people do these aurora tours that they've never seen. 30 years of doing aurora tours. I've seen an article on that. So just know that that's what's happening there. That does point to a more active sun. And also it can point towards a weaker magnetic field because stuff is getting in and down further. But it doesn't mean that Earth isn't doing its job. Doing her job, man. I'm telling you, it's wow. I mean, the punch off some of the stuff that she has throughout the years it has, or whatever you want, Mother Earth, whatever you want to call her. You know, what I'm saying is that, man, doing a good job fitting this stuff off. So, we got the magnetopause here. We'll take a look at this too. Now, what I want to say here is that I'm going to pause it. Look at the timestamp. Now, those flares started happening. We've seen a couple little blips, but the biggest one, I think you're going to be able to see it. That right there is the flare. You see it? How do I know? Look. Okay? It takes a flare about 8 minutes to get here. That's it. It's here and gone. So, yeah. And we'll keep moving with this. Now watch it. There's another one. There's the other one. That's probably the biggest part of the flare. Now watch. I bet it all goes away. See? As quick as it came, then we get the littler ones and another big one. So that's very consistent with what we just seen. The timestamps are going to match up really, really close to it. You know, sometimes we don't see too much action on the magnetosphere with flares until the other energy gets here. Like from the CME. So this is the density. We're probably going to see something similar. See how we're not seeing much? You want to know why? Because these are X-rays. They're not charged particles. This density graph shows you the density of the charged particles of the solar wind. So with a flare, it's X-ray. That's why you don't see much change there. Now pressure, we might see a little. I don't think we're going to see a big, huge jump here. But I bet we see it hit. There it is. Okay? But I don't think it's going to affect it very much. Did you see how it didn't? Nothing much changed inside here. But you can clearly see how that flare action's happening. And so, you know, that is what it is there. Now, so we'll go back over here to ISWA. Now, I'm going to show you guys this in these other angstroms because we'll be able to see different stuff. So let me get up here. And you're going to see the filament release up here. See it? Now, I know it wasn't as impressive as it was on the other one, but it's because we're looking at a different gas. That's what we're looking at here. But you can even see the other ejection up here too. Now, if we want to look at the flare, we got to look down here. And it's probably not going to be as impressive as what we just seen over there at 304. You see how a little sparkling, almost like a sparkler? Okay, every once in a while, some of that stuff's going ahead and flaring and shooting on off. So that's what we look at. And then you even see a little bit of an ejection right there. Look at this area over here. That's the one that rotated off. It's still doing stuff on the back side. This is the one I showed you guys yesterday that was over here, remember? Remember I even made the comment that, hey, man, that got right in front of Earth and decided it wanted to show up. Because that's exactly what it did. So if we look at the... Let me pause this one. So if we look at the 211... And we're going to see the flare the best on the 131, which is a teal image. But we'll take a look at that here in a minute. Now again, guys, this thing has been flaring since it popped up. Just not big ones. So watch this other ejection up here. See? See that? And just like normal, it ripples across the surface. It does that, okay? It destabilizes the whole area for a few. Plus, we're going to get the other ejection up here, too. Again, guys, stuff is just happening all over the place. So let's look at the 131, which is the teal, which is what I use for my thumbnail. And I used that one on purpose because it shows the flare the best. And that's usually typical of a flare. We'll see it best in the 131 angstrom. Oh, heck, I got it right there, right on it. See? Look at that. That's that biggest flare. Let me zoom in. Okay, I mean, you can clearly see. Heck, that's, when we look at flares, for a C-class flare, a high C-class flare, that's pretty impressive. We got lucky and got a really good capture of it. That's something they could probably put in a textbook somewhere. That's, yeah. I mean, I've seen multiple pictures like this on the internet. Let's zoom in a little bit more if we can. Oh, I'm zooming in all the way. So that's that biggest flare. So what are we going to do here? We're going to, I'm going to reset it. And I'm going to back it back off a little bit. And we're going to take a look at it in a more broad view here. We'll let it pop up here. Is everybody okay in there? Hey, Craig, what's up? Christine, see ya. How's it going? Tracy, Carolyn, you were in here at the beginning. I think I seen a couple of you. Lady, Gone Girl, I love Beagles. That's right. Underdog. That's an awesome cartoon. No names left. None. What's up? You've been in here a lot. Like the name. Thomas. Cool. If I miss anybody there, I'm sorry. Apologize. So, Sharon, what's up? Marie. Eastern. Johnny Connor. Dalen. Or is that Dylan or no? It's Dalen. Okay. I don't know that I've ever heard that name. That's cool. Hey, Ricky, what's up? How you doing? When we were talking about quakes earlier in that last video, Ricky, I'm with you on that. Those lines have been there for a long time. But, yeah. Hey, Sid, what's up? Alaska in the hizzy. In the hizzy. Danny from England, what's up? From across the pond. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. You hear about an international incident, it wasn't me. Good one, Craig. Hey, Craig's an OG here, guys. He's been here from the beginning. He's a cool guy, man. Rip, what's up? Mary, Kelly, Chris. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. But yeah, guys, I mean, we'll look at this real quick right here on the filament release here. I'm calling it a filament release because that's what it looks like. And I think it was. I think this filament was just kind of sitting there. But essentially, it's a big CME, okay? You see how that kind of rippled across and then shot? Typically, a CME, if it's just a plain CME, it'll just like open up and explode. You've seen that kind of crawl across the surface and then fly off. I think that's the difference. What's up, Jason? Gone Girl, 777. So, yeah, but I'm going to put the chat back away, guys. I get distracted. I'm like a squirrel. I get distracted easily. So, yeah. The sun is doing stuff all over the place, guys. And I don't want us to forget that. Now, I don't want us to fear it either. Okay? Because the bottom line is, what we're seeing here, even with these flares, let me show you. Let me go here because it'll help me explain it. Even flares of this size. Do you guys see how far up it has to go to get to an X class? If you want some really, significant, stuff to happen, that's what you're looking at. Okay? We're, in M class, yes, we got an outside chance of seeing some pretty decent stuff happen in an M class flare, which is why a lot of times we don't speak about them unless they are M class or bigger. Now, let me rephrase that. Usually a C class will at least mention, but an M class will dig right into that, and then so we will an X class also, obviously, if we can. Sometimes with the X class flares, guys, sometimes when that happens, some of the tools will just get blanked out because it got hit so hard. But, that is what it is. So anyway, you know, a high C class is definitely worth what I'm doing with it right here. Okay, we can see brownouts. We probably already have. You know, like I said, my TV did it for a second, and then everybody, and I mean everybody, started having buffering issues. And I knew it was like across a bigger area because Mark himself, that was running the live stream, wasn't buffering. He wasn't having any issue at the time. Everybody else was. So it was like all over the place, right? It wasn't just coming from his end. It was all over the place. So that's when I was like, yep, it was that flare. But yeah, so we're gonna I'm gonna update this because guys, I don't think the thing is done. Just to be honest. Okay, we're gonna have to watch it. Again, look, see, it did this one, and it even had another little one right there. So, yeah, we're gonna have to pay attention to this one. Just like we were gonna have to pay. Remember when I said about this one when it was over here? I was like, man, we gotta watch that thing because it released a filament, guys, over here that missed us. Remember? Matter of fact, the CME tracker tracked it. And I looked at this a minute ago, but it may have updated. I doubt it, but we'll see. Oops, wrong one. See? It still hasn't updated. So let me back this off. It probably won't, because again, guys, I'm on this pretty fast this time. And the only reason why I'm able to show you stuff I'm showing you is because it was a flare. You know, a CME ain't going to show, it's going to take it days to get here, right? But a flare's here and gone in 8 minutes. So that's why it's okay to talk about it like this. But that's the one that blew off that filament. Now, I want you guys to pay attention where it's heading. It's heading to stereo A. Why does that matter? Well, because we're going to get some good information of how strong this thing is from stereo A. It's going to give us a pretty good clue of what we can expect in this new sun cycle from the power of these things, at least at the beginning of it. And it's directly going to smack it. Let me show you this real quick and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, now this is the end of the model like I show you guys all the time. You know, but we're usually concentrating on the green line, right? Well, stereo A is right here, right? Well, here's stereo A, conditions of stereo A. So that filament is said to be there at the turn of the day tonight. You know, the 27th going to the 28th. So, you know, it would not surprise me at all that when we look at let's go over here to seeds. This is stereo A. It would not surprise me at all to see this thing get knocked out. In other words, go into safe mode, or we could see it like go to the snow over here. We could see that happen over here. In other words, we could get some really crazy looking imaging that isn't actually what's going on. It's just because it's getting hit with a CME. So we'll have to wait and see what it does. But even if the imaging isn't the greatest, they're still going to get some good data on it. Okay? You know, they can take that data also, and they can enter it into their programming and get good visuals also. That's kind of what you're seeing here anyway. You're not seeing like a 35 millimeter camera snapping a picture. Okay, it's all digital. It's all data, and they put it in this. So, but yeah. So that's stereo A. Now what we'll do, let me, okay. So we're going to go up here to seeds first. This is the 26th. We don't have nothing for the 27th yet, unfortunately. Well, let me refresh that. Let's see if we do yet. Nope. That's typical. You know, it is that time of day. Usually we don't have a whole lot of data for this time. But you can see here, right? Now this isn't those solar flares. Okay, we don't have the 27th on here. That's when those flares started happening. This is the other ones I was showing you. Okay, now when we go over to stereo A, we do have some imaging from the 27th. Okay, And this is what we get. So, what I'm trying to say is that I do think that whatever's going on here, because stereo A's here, the Earth is kind of here. I think this is coming at us, is what I'm saying. You know, and we got to wait. I don't want to say 100% on that, but it does look like it's coming at us, in my opinion. Those flares, you know, that definitely was right in front of us. And when we look, you know, say we're looking here on the 27th. Well, if we go to the 26th, let me show you something. Okay, here's an ejection that's happening on the 26th at 16. Right, we can go look at Soho at 1600 on the 26th. We'll go look at it here in a second and compare it. You see how this is there? Well, what we seen over there was it looked like it was off to the left. So that means that it's going in between the Earth and stereo A at the very least. It could be coming closer to us, or it could be going closer to stereo A. But judging by where it came off at, I think it's coming at us. At least our general direction. Again, that's just an opinion, and I cannot say that's 100%. Not until we get more data in. But let me go on to the next capture here. You see this? Okay, so let me back it up. Now I'm going to go back over here to ISWA because this will give us more imaging. It's the same camera, just different imaging. Okay, it's this one here. Everybody say hi to my daughter. She's out here in the living room making a bunch of noise. I'm just kidding, guys. She's out here, though. Anyway, you guys see that? Okay, that was on the 23rd. That was that other filament release, I think. So let me go take this to where we're at now. Okay, so I'm gonna toggle this through now. We're on the 26th. Remember, we're looking from the side. Let me get this thing out here. It's bugging me. So, again, we're on the 26th. We've already got stuff shooting off right here, right? And then that. Right here. Watch this. Okay? See what's happening there? That's another ejection. Now we go from 1800, or roughly 1900, to no data. We skipped about 4 hours there. And that's why it's already out here. (1854) to 0-100. So again, that's about what? That's 6 hours. At least 5. So that's why you're not seeing this thing. And if I had to guess, guys, I'm sorry. Number one, that is strange looking. Now I know it's just an ejection coming off there, but I don't know that I've seen it really do that just like it did there before. Okay, you can clearly see how it's ejecting off the sun, but that's a pretty intense one. And you see how when we jump time, it went way out here. And if we keep moving, we start seeing, watch when the flares happen over here. Okay, the flares haven't happened yet. Watch. That's the flare right there, if you can see it. Watch it get real bright right here. I'm going to back it up some first. See that? It goes from that to that. So that's those flares. So it's causing that energy to come out. So I guess the biggest thing I'm telling you guys here is that the sun is acting up on all sides. This is the Soho. This is from our view. And the first thing you're probably going to notice here is it's going to be like flickering lights because we're still in a little bit of that Ornid meteor shower. We're coming out of it, but it's still kind of a dirty area of space, and that's why you're seeing that. So I'm going to push play. Actually, I'm going to do that first. Okay, there it goes. So you're seeing stuff there again. Let me get this to where we're at today. Okay. So we're about, that's at 1300. So we move forward. Okay, you see that little ejection there on the right? Okay. You see that? Then you see that big old jump in time. 7 hours. So we don't get to see the beginning of that solar flare. We do see the result. Now we're seeing here too. So that's telling me that most of that energy is behind that occulter, which is right in front of us. This is our view. So it does look like a lot of this may be coming at us. Now we're going to, again, I cannot say that for 100%. And even if it does it mean it's going to be really bad? No, it does not. Okay? It's just something that we need to pay attention to and understand what we're looking at here on that end of it. This camera's doing something kind of weird anyway. You can kind of see like a rectangle. It's getting faded as it moves across. I don't know what's causing that kind of anomaly, but it's nothing natural. You can see that kind of doing that. It's got to be a camera thing. Yeah, most definitely. But the rest of it there, guys, is definitely stuff that we need to take a look at. And let me bring this back to about right here. Now, just kind of look at the sparkles when I start putting this in motion. Okay, you see how we go kind of dead, and then we pick it back up a little bit. You know, it's because we're moving in and out of stuff. But yeah. So now check this out. We'll be able to see that solar flare, and I'll show it to you. This is the Australian model. Shout out to my Aussies. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. But you'll see it, because it's only it'll bounce real hard one time. And we missed it. Let me hit it again. I'll try to pause it when it gets close. Okay. Okay, you see how we're right there? Roughly at 407. Watch what happens. See that? Very next one. 406, and then bam. See how we kind of bumped in right there? The density went up a little bit. It crinkled in a little bit more, and then watch. It goes right back out here to normal. So that was that solar flare. So let's watch it in full speed now. See what happens. You can clearly see it jump just a little bit more than what it had been. And that's that biggest flare hitting you. So yeah, let's check out the earthquake situation here real quick. You know, I'm not sure if it updated yet or not. We'll check it out. Yeah, it already had. So, but I got this on all magnitudes for the last 24 hours, I think. Let's check. Yeah, 1 day, all magnitudes in the U.S. That's the reason I did that is because watch this. Anything over 2.5, that's all we got for that kind of strength. Not too much going on there on that end of it. One thing I will note though, I'm not sure if you guys are seeing the same thing I am here, but it's almost like these are like equal distantly spaced, or they're so very closely. Okay? And they're roughly about the same intensity. Now, I don't know how normal that is, but it's only up here doing it. We do have a little bit of a cluster here. That's a 3-5. That's a 3-1. And that is a 3-3. But let me switch this back to all magnitudes. And that's what you see. Now you see a clear swarming over here, guys. I mean, I don't see how anybody could deny that. And this up here too. And then you start even getting inland a little bit. I was curious on what is causing this right here. It's almost like that's in a straight line. But you know, again, I don't know enough about this kind of stuff. Now, I don't think that's normal either. To have one of those, I'm not even sure if there's fracking operations there. I don't know. Oh, is Ricky still in here? She might be able to answer some of those questions for us. Yeah, she probably gets tired of me leaning on her on this one. But yeah, guys, again, it just looks like it's in a straight line. It looks like, you know, quite a bit of activity right here in California, in the south there. You know, and we're into Nevada. I mean, there's swarming right here, guys. Look at all those. So, what's causing that? Now, I know that that isn't a normal thing. Okay? We look at that one. Now, I'm going to leave it right there, and I'm going to change it to... See? That's that happened, right? It was a... What was that? A 3? That was a 3-1 in Minot, Nevada. And after that, it looks as though we got either foreshocks or aftershocks. Quite a few of them. So, you know, I don't know what's going on there. I haven't really looked at any of the, I haven't looked at Dutch's stuff today yet, or not. I haven't seen any of this other stuff. So, yeah. Yeah, there's probably lots of tunnels and stuff all over the place, guys. I mean, there's stuff that could be causing... It just looks like it's a little bit more active in these certain areas. It's almost like straight lines. It's just really crazy looking. You know, then we got these here on the New Madrid. The North American Craton plate there too. So yeah. Yeah, we got the big fires out here, guys. Massive fires. There and in Colorado, but Colorado don't have any quakes going on. So, yeah. So I don't know exactly what's going on with all these earthquakes and stuff, guys. I wish I was a little bit more up on these kinds of things and had a little bit more knowledge where I could share with you. I do talk about, you know, pointing people to other people like Dutch and Ricky. She's really knowledgeable about that stuff, and for the life of me, I can't remember his name for the life of me. And I watch him all the time. Ricky pointed me to him. It's the Pacific Northwest area that he, I think he lives in, but he reports on that, plus a whole other, you know, the worldwide earthquake stuff. Man, daggone it, what's his channel name? Anyway, he's an older gentleman. He wears an oxygen tube. And only say that just because that helps people notice or notify, kind of recognize who he is. What is his name? Daggone. I'll have to figure that out, guys. Sorry. But yeah. So, as far as earthquakes and fires being related, you know, I don't have any good answers there for you. You know, like I said, I'm not going to come here and say, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this, and predict an earthquake. There's no way I'm going to do that. You know, even though I've looked at these things just as much as other people, I just, I'm not confident enough to say something like that. Yeah, there you go, Rip. That's his name. Emergency management, something else too. There's some. He's got a couple other things there on his name. Yeah, Ron, Ricky. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. And I'm sorry, Ricky, if I lean on you too much on this subject. I shouldn't do that to you. I really shouldn't. I know you probably don't mind the help and all that, but yeah, I don't want to lean on you too hard there. That's not fair. But she does know what she's talking about, guys. If she puts something in that chat, you better listen to what she's saying, because she knows what's going on. But yeah. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know nothing about that, Kelly. You know. I think Catfish talks about that a lot. About the moon, how he thinks it, like, I guess basically turns over every night as it's rotating through the sky. So yeah. But yeah. Hey Ricky, you still in there? Just curious. Okay. Anyway, guys. Hope you guys have a good day. You know. Are you Ricky, Christine? Ron Tyler, there you go. There you go. Yeah, Kathleen. She put it right in there. Yeah, we're getting ready to get off here, though. We're heading out. So, oh, you're welcome, Beagles. That's awesome, guys. So, yeah. Christine. That's right. So, yeah, guys, just try to stay positive, you know. Do the best you can. Yeah, Dutch knows quite, you know, yeah. But yeah, so I don't know what's going on with any of this, you know, as far as earthquake stuff. Who else is in there? Who's tagging me? Missing time. Can you explain? Can I explain? Okay. Sure, go for it. I mean, you know, some of this stuff is explainable, you know, with the blackout area it has every day, but as far as the other stuff, I don't know. So. Oh, man. You're welcome, Elizabeth. Thank you. Yeah, guys. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to give... Who was that? Yeah, I'm trying to give Nibby some time here to type in what he needs to type in, or her. I don't know if it's one or the other. But yeah. You're welcome, NJ. Gone girl. Thank you. Elizabeth, Axe. Yeah. Okay. Sweet, guys. I am going to go ahead and get off here, guys. Back at you, Kelly. Back at you. Yeah. So, let's see here. For 2 hours, observing Lucas at the time was lost because of this. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Makes perfect sense, actually. You guys reading that? Yesterday, Stereo spent 2 hours observing Betelgeuse, or Betelgeuse, or what, I think it's Betelgeuse is how you say that. And the time is lost because of this. Stereo only has 12 passes this week. Okay, cool. Yeah, Stereo is it's a good tool. It's been out there for a while. I just wish it had better imaging. But yeah. I think if we wait on Stereo's imaging, I think they actually upgrade it. if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but to get your real time data on that, I don't think you're going to get anything better than what we got. You know. Yeah. Yeah. That the Ron Tyler. He knows what he's talking about too, guys. Okay. I'm serious. You guys really should go check his channel out. Matter of fact, let me go over here real quick before I get off of here, and I'll see if I can't find his channel for us. I think I'm pretty sure I'm subscribed. I go there a lot. No, it doesn't mean I'm subscribed. It's Ron Tyler. Daggone it. I could have swore I subscribed to him. Sometimes, when you go to a channel and you're there, it'll keep putting it in there. So sometimes you think you're subscribed and you're not. If you keep going back to it, because it'll keep putting it right on the recommended list. What's his channel name? I forget. It's Ryan Tyler. Okay. Emergency Management Associates. Yeah, so I'm looking in the wrong spot. And I'm still not in there. Okay, let's do this. There it is. Figured it'd pop up on my thing here. Yeah, there he is. I'm going to pause it, and I'm going to share his link, okay? Go check him out, guys. He seems to be a really upstanding dude. He seems to know what he's talking about. Ricky pointed me over towards him, and I have not been disappointed at all. So there's his link. I'm actually going to subscribe because I thought I was. Give him a like on that one. Thanks, Isaiah. He appreciates. Oh, okay. I hope he does. I've never actually even talked to him. He's more than welcome to. I wouldn't mind having some conversations with him. To be honest, I like to try to learn this stuff, man. I really would. I mean, I'm serious. I'm not just saying that. I'm trying to get everything I can from all directions. And I know that a lot of people don't think that space weather has a whole lot to do with earthquakes, but it does. Okay? Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, Blast is out there all the time. I mean, like I said, guys, I watch him. That's what I'm saying. I can't believe I wasn't subscribed. Probably what happened was when Ricky first sent me over there, I went over and I liked his channel so much that I would go back every day. And it just kept putting it in my recommended list, so I really didn't have to go to my subscription list to get to his channel. So, yeah. I appreciate everything he does. He's definitely dedicated and knows what he's talking about. That's what I'll say to that. Very educated. Very educated. IG, correct me if I'm wrong, he's pretty much in the Pacific Northwest, but he reports on everything, I think. Yeah, see, he does, disaster preparedness stuff too here, also. Loss prevention, yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're more, anytime you feel like you need to drop his link and somebody needs a place to go, if you just want to, promote him a little bit, go for it. I mean, I have no problem with that. So, anybody in here adding stuff to the chat today, I thank you. I really appreciate that. Anything that you had to add here. Nibby, I think that was, yeah, Nibby. Thank you for putting that in there about Stereo A. I really appreciate that. Not a problem at all. Thank you for doing that. I didn't want to bounce off of here real quick and not give you a chance to type that in there. I do appreciate it, so thank you. So yeah. All right, guys. I think I am going to get off here, but yeah, go check out Emergency Management Associates Cascadia Volcano and Earthquake Report Monday, October 26, 2020. I'm just kidding. I did that for a little joke. That's all. Okay. That's good info. Thank you. Will they be, Nibby, will they be posting anything on that? Will they post the results of their assessment at any time? Just curious. You're welcome, Jason. Tammy. I'm glad you're all here. I really am. I really appreciate it. You know, guys, this is why I do this for this reason. You know, I like connecting with people. I like to, you know, I don't come on here and oh, Willie, okay, cool. I don't profess to know everything. I don't profess to be perfect. You know, I don't have any formal training at all in any of this stuff. You know, I'm going to be wrong sometimes. And, you know, I just think it takes that at least, you know. I guess, you know, at some level maybe I need to back up a little bit, you know, and just try to get a little bit there. But if I do that, then I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. You know what I mean? You know, when I first got into this kind of stuff, there was not too many doing it. I mean, there was, but a lot of them weren't really like looking at the tools and stuff. You know, we had a lot of channels showing a bunch of pictures of the sky. And that's kind of why I went the other direction. Just, that's just how my channel kind of evolved. But I do this just to try to, you know, like I said, I don't monetize or nothing. So I do this because, number one, it keeps my brain active. Okay? I know that some people will look at me and say, well, your brain still ain't active. But that is a big reason why I do what I do. You know, not to mention that I've formed relationships with you guys that I never thought I would ever form with anybody like that. I didn't think that, you know, you could, you know, like Mark Pyers, you know, his channel, and Scott, you know, and everybody there, guys. I mean, just people that I've gotten. I'm not even talking about this stuff. I'm talking about just having personal conversation completely away from this. It's just stuff like that I didn't think I was ever going to get from something like what I'm doing here. And that's my reward. That's what I get from it, you know. You know, I don't have a whole lot, you know, in my own personal life. I got my family, and that's enough, you know. But when I'm able to add more onto this, I do. Hey, thank you for coming in here, Exile. I forgot. Hey, guys, please, he only needs, how many more you need, Exile? Guys, he needs, what, 87? Looks like. Guys, please go over here and get him to 1,000. That would be so great if you guys could at least jump over there. If you're not, let me drop a link. He's working hard, guys, to get to that. You know, and I think we need to support each other when it comes to this kind of stuff. Not to mention that his content's pretty cool, guys. You know, he does a lot of time lapse. He puts some music to it, and you know, well, I guess we can just watch this one real quick. It's 1 minute 8 seconds. You guys see that? See, that's the kind of cool stuff we'll miss unless we got people like him doing this. You guys see that shooting star? We'll watch it again. That was cool. It's coming in right here. You see that? Tell me that wasn't cool. So yeah, that's pretty cool. What? Please be patient with the. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Commands to the spacecraft. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, there's if I'm correct, I mean, as long as I've ever been doing this for however long, it did seem like we had there's always like a little bit of a lapse there anyway. I try to take, usually it's at the beginning of the day that I notice, like it's missing like the first 6 hours sometimes. But yeah, but they, what they do though, guys? Most of the time, if you go back a couple days later, they'll add that data back in once they get it and able to, I guess, process it. That's what I guess they're doing with it. But yeah, for sure. That was cool, but was that did you say that was just your dialing in equipment? Is that what you were saying, or was that an actual shooting star, J-Man? Ouch. Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah. So I mean, seriously, that is yeah, we need to get him. Let's reset that. Where we at? We're getting him there. 77 more, 78 more. We'll have him there. Okay, sure. I can show one of Christine's too before we get out of here, guys. For sure. She does good stuff too. She does a lot of stuff on the beach and stuff. It's pretty cool. Let me this is what I like doing, guys, because it helps people, Not only does it help the channel creator, but it's helping you guys too, being able to see other things that isn't necessarily gloom and doom like what I have to show you. You know what I mean? If I had any other way to do it, I would. I just don't know how else to present this kind of information. It's just, I don't know what else to do. I try to keep it in a more a positive, upbeat type of thing, and I try to be that way with it, but at some level, you can't. So let's I'll pause this real quick. We're going to share it real quick. Get your link in there. Here's her link, guys. You guys go over and give her a sub, too. Let me say this, too, before I start this. There's not hardly anybody on this platform that did not need help at some point in time. I promise you. Okay? It usually takes somebody that has a decent amount of subscribers to at least put you out there one time. So, yeah. I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. I like that music too. It's a good choice of music. I mean, sometimes you'll get on stuff and it'll just be like so far off of what it's actually showing. You know what I mean? With the music, that was not. That was on point. It's definitely, yeah. And these are her own captures, guys. She walks out there and gets these herself. It's yeah. I put the link in here. Here, Tammy. I'll give you another. Give me, okay. I hear you, Jay, man. Hey, I got your email, man. I got you. I'm getting it together, guys. It takes some time, you know. There's a lot there. A lot there. What's up, Axe? Hilly Billy. Guys, I have to say, you know, a lot of my moderators do have channels. You know, Hillbilly, he's got a channel where he does Bible studies and stuff. Guys, I mean, there's just a lot of people doing stuff, and it really takes all of us to get things out to the point where, you know, at least some people are watching what we got. You know, it just depends on what your goal is. You know, my goal has never been to be huge, but you know, my channel is growing, and it really hasn't stopped, and I've been fortunate in that. You know, there's other channels like Mark Pyers. You know, most of you guys already know who he is. I see him almost at the end of one of my live streams almost every time. And that's just what I do, because that is my positive outlet. Okay? Along with stuff like this with Christine and J-Man, you know, going out there and showing stuff that doesn't necessarily have to mean that catastrophe's coming. You know what I mean? And I hope that I've never given anybody that vibe on my channel like it's the end of the world. I try, you know, because I don't think that it is, guys. You know, I've point blank said that since the beginning. This is just stuff that we're going through. It's that simple. Is there stuff out there that is wrong and bad? Probably, yes. Okay. But it is just Hillbilly, come on now. It's all good, man. I mean, again, guys, we gotta support each other. Seriously. Okay. See, I didn't know that. The full science data replaces the beacon data. Okay. Seeds only shows... Okay, I didn't know that either. Wow. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying, guys. I learn stuff every day, and it's usually from you guys. And, you know, obviously, Nibby knows a lot about that stuff, that's for sure. But yeah, I'll be looking for that report on that, because that would be neat. That'd be kind of interesting to look at, I would think. There's just a lot of places we can go here, guys. I mean, so many things. So many places we can go, so many different avenues we can take now because of the internet. And not all of them's good, not all of them's bad. But, you know, if we're all good to each other, I guess that's all that matters. You know, at the end of the day. You know, and instead of fighting and screaming and yelling and doing all that kind of stuff, it just doesn't do any good. You know, if somebody yells or screams at me, I completely shut down. You know, if you want me to actually listen to what you're saying or you know, take serious what you're saying, don't come at me all sideways. You know what I mean? Don't call me names. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not gonna have any time for it. That's all. You know? And I hope I represented that through my channel. I don't like to come out here and, you know, even when I've gotten into small little tiffs with whoever, even in the chat, you guys have seen how I've handled it. I try to handle it in the most calm way that I most certainly can. You know? But yeah. So that's what it is, you know? And there's, you know, people have different styles. That's another thing I want to say. Just because we have different styles doesn't mean that either one of us are any less important or any less whatever. And, you know, I've made some really good friends through this. I really have. You know? And I'm talking just let me say this I'm gonna say this one more time. Take all this internet stuff and throw it in the trash. And the people that I talk to that are my friends, that's what I value. Okay? Not all this stuff. You know, I do value this stuff or I wouldn't do it, but I don't value it over a friendship that I've made or a person that I've, you know, been able to come in contact with. It just is what it is. You know, and I've formed some, you know, pretty tight friendships. I really have. Well, a lot of you guys are in here. You know, Scott and everybody else that's in here right now. Hilly, me and Hilly have known each other for what now, Hilly? What, 3 years at least? You know how me and Hilly met? We met over at a news station called Texas News Studio, and it was Mark. He was doing reporting news out of Texas, and YouTube kept messing with him bad, and all he was doing was just showing reports. He wasn't adding any commentary or anything. He was just showing just pure info, journalistic reports. Well, I appreciate that, Surgery. I really do. Thank you. And, you know, but with Mark did that over there, he got such a hard time for a long time. That's when we were going through all that, you know, that North Korea stuff where everybody was afraid little Kimmy over there was going to push the button. You know what I mean? And so anything that was being talked about that, he, you know, Hilly, does he still, you know, I know he's not on YouTube, but where's he at? Is he doing anything at all? I'm just curious. I couldn't find him. I looked. So, you know, there was some. Hey, Hot Rodley. There was some, yeah. I bet you do, Hilly. Oh, he's on D Live. Okay, I got D Live. I'll head over there and check him out for sure. I will go. I'll go over and sub up to him and see what's going on. Follow him or whatever it is. Is it follow over there? Or is it subscribe? I don't know. Yeah, it's true, Matthew. 100%. That's yeah. As soon as you start, you know, throwing their name out there like that, the people that aren't, you know, that are protected, you can't say their names. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. My whole point there, you know, it was a whole big circle just to get back to this, was that you find people and you find things in places you didn't expect to. And I think that it takes an open mind, an open heart, and, you know, just the willingness to admit, number one, when you're wrong, and the willingness to drop your pride, your ego, and get some of that embarrassment out of there too. And I think that's one positive thing about what we do here on the internet. The embarrassment factor isn't necessarily there at the beginning, okay? Because they can't see you. People can't see you, right? So you're able to be completely, utterly, 100% honest. And then that becomes a bad thing on the end, because people take that and they twist it and they go negative with it. But I've chosen to recognize that and try to use it for a positive. And I think if everybody was to do that, I think we would probably, you know, be a lot better off, guys. I mean, I'm telling you. Let me ask you this, guys. If I beat you over the head and just kept telling you this, that, and the other, you're stupid, this, that, and all that, you're not going to come back. You're just not. You're not going to, first off, you're not going to hear a word I'm saying, because you're going to be mad. And, you know, so that's really how, and that's why I think, you know, Mark Pyers is such a great guy and a great channel. Because that is his whole philosophy. That's how he runs his channel. And it was neat to see somebody that tries to do it, or he does it. He does it like I try to do my channel the best way that I can. You know, I don't always get the information right. I don't always read the tools the correct way. I don't, you know, but I'm trying. And I do try to do my best, and I do try to dig into the research and the technical. And sometimes the technical aspects of what I show you does get complicated. And, you know, if I was just to come out here, flash that on the screen, and read it to you without any kind of, you know, trying to bring it down a level or two, it would be hard to understand, because it is for me sometimes. And again, I'm not saying I'm the smartest person in the room. That's not it. It's just, yeah, man. What's that say? Imzama.com / okay, I'll check that out. Cool. Thank you. Cool. But, you know, that's just how I try. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is I can't do any more than that. And I don't think people would come back and try to watch what I'm trying to show them if I just showed them some vocabulary words. You know, because let's admit it, guys. If it's not entertaining at all, you're not going to come back to the channel. Okay? I mean, it's as simple as that. You know, when I'm on YouTube, if I watch a video and there's information there, I'll listen to the information, especially if somebody points me there. But if it's like just so dry and mundane, do you think I'm going to go back? No, I'm not. And that's why I try my best. You know, some of the stuff that I've added to my channel since the beginning is stuff like, well, let me play this while I'm talking. It's stuff like trying to add better graphics, trying to add better stuff at the beginning with the intros and stuff like that. You know, if you guys go back and watch one of my first videos, you'd be, well, you know what? This video's already long anyway. Might as well. If you guys want to stick around, you can. If not, I understand. Go to my videos. Now, YouTube, you know what YouTube does? They won't, I think what they do is they will actually only go back so far. And I'm not sure where they put the archived videos, but some of them, you go back to the beginning of my channel and you're going to see that some of them aren't there anymore. And it's from date, I think. Not 100% sure on that, but pretty sure. Oh yeah, if you guys want to know something about Mr. Wages here, go watch this video. Yeah, see, it only goes back that far. I don't know why, but that's what it's doing. So, I can get back further somehow. But if you guys were to actually go back further than what I am right there and see my videos, you guys would be surprised. Because people that haven't been with me for a while, you can actually see it in my thumbnails. My thumbnails got 100% better when I actually started caring about that. You know what I mean? And again, the time I started caring about it was when I realized that people aren't going to, you know, click on a video if mine's sitting next to somebody that's giving the same information, but theirs looks a lot better and professional. They're not going to, you know, which one are they going to click on? I mean, we know. I mean, it's an easy answer. It's just, and when I first started my channel, just like everybody else, you almost have to start like that. You know what I mean? Because you don't know what to do. So you just jump into it. That's what I did. And I learned from everybody and everything, and I still learn more from you guys than I ever could learn from a book. It just, and I'm talking life lessons. It's just, I've had a lot of things happen throughout my whole YouTube thing here. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get off here, guys. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I get nobody wants to be here this early in the morning, so you know what, guys, before we get off here, I guess I could take you over here to space weather and see if that thing's had any more flares. Doesn't look like it. Looks like it's kind of chilled out, but the geomagnetism did go up to 4. Now, I know that they were kind of predicting a geomagnetic storm right here in about this time frame. They said the 26th, but sometimes they're off a little bit, and it could come late or it could come early. So I think that, you know, I'm not saying that that's what's causing this, but could be. Ramble on. Hilly. He just says what he thinks, man. That's awesome. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Let's see if I can update something here. Let's see if we can't see anything on this. Let's see if it updated at all anymore. Yeah, there's not really nothing new happening there. But that was a pretty impressive little ejection up here, and these flares. I mean, and what's different about these guys is they're earth facing. Doesn't mean they're going to hit us. It just means that they're earth facing and they got a good chance of it. Now, the flares did. Okay? If the flare didn't hit us, at least the X-ray part of the flare, if it was to miss us, this would not move. Okay? Even the ones that happened like a week ago, where it hit that sunspot had already rotated off the edge, almost completely off the edge, and it flared. If that thing was earth facing and we had the proper detectors in the way, that thing would have been a lot bigger than what it came in as. I think it was more powerful than what it actually was written down as. Just we didn't have anything there to tell us how big it was. It didn't hit any of the correct detectors that we needed to get the data. So really all we had to go off of was how, the detectors that we did have and the visual that we had of it, which wasn't much. We had the side view. We could see it on the side from the front view. That's pretty much all we had. Unfortunately, we don't get data from Stereo B. If we had Stereo B still in operation, that would have been a totally different story, I would think, my opinion. But even that one, I think the CME part of that one actually went back towards the back of it. So yeah, I am going to end the video, guys. So guess what? I'm going to go take a nap. Anyway, God bless, guys. Yeshua saves.